The most dangerous moment in your life isn't when the world is screaming at you. It's when the world inside your own head goes completely quiet. It isn't the fight, the betrayal, or the door that slams shut behind someone you loved. It's the small, holy second when your own voice stops answering back. And once that silence walks in, it never really walks back out the same way. Have you ever felt so unheard for so long that you finally just stopped trying to be heard at all? If that sentence just touched something tender inside your chest, tap that subscribe button right now and stay with me, because I'm about to explain why your silence might actually be the loudest scream your soul has ever made. Because here is the truth nobody on your timeline is brave enough to say. Silence is not always peace. Silence is not always healing. Silence is not always strength. Sometimes silence is just the sound of a person who got tired of begging the people they love to finally listen. And if you are watching this right now, I think a part of you already knows exactly which silence is living inside you. You remember the moment, even if you wish you didn't. It was the night you opened your mouth to say something honest, something raw, something real. And the person across from you rolled their eyes, or laughed, or looked down at their phone, or told you again that you were being too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. And something inside you just folded. Quietly, completely, forever. You didn't slam the door. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't even cry where they could see it. You just nodded. You said the magic words. "It's fine. I'm fine. Forget I said anything." And then you walked away carrying a weight only you could feel, because you have gotten so good at carrying it that even you forget some days that it is there. That right there is the silence I am talking about. Not the silence of an empty room, not the silence of a peaceful morning, the silence of a person who stopped expecting to be met halfway. The silence of a heart that learned the long, hard way that speaking up costs more than swallowing it down. And that kind of silence, my friend, is the loudest sound a human being can ever make. Carl Jung once said that whatever you don't bring into the light, you carry in the dark. And every single word you swallowed, every feeling you pushed down, every time you whispered, "Never mind," when you really meant, "Please, please see me," none of it ever disappeared. It just moved into the basement of your body. And now it is running the whole house while you wonder why you are so tired. Does this sound like someone you know? Maybe someone who looks back at you in the mirror every morning? Share this video with anyone who has been quiet for too long, and subscribe so we can keep digging into the truths nobody else has been brave enough to put into words for you. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you actually said what you really felt? Not the polished version, not the safe version, not the version you trim down to keep other people comfortable. The raw one. The one that lives behind your teeth at 2 in the morning when the house is sleeping and your chest feels too small for everything inside it. You probably can't remember. And that's not because you don't have feelings. It's because somewhere along the way, you got the message that your feelings were too much, too loud, too messy, too inconvenient. So you started shrinking them, folding them, tucking them under your tongue like a secret and calling that maturity. But it was never maturity. It was survival. And there is a giant difference between the two. Maturity is choosing peace because you finally have options. Survival is choosing silence because you do not believe you have any options left at all. One is freedom in a quiet form. The other is a slow goodbye to your own voice. And the cruelest part is, almost nobody notices when it happens. It is not one big moment. It is 1,000 tiny ones. The friend who interrupted you every single time. The parent who said, "Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about." The partner who twisted every conversation until you became the villain. The boss who took your idea and your credit in the same breath. Each one was a small brick. And one day, you woke up inside a wall you don't even remember building. Now picture this with me. You are standing in a crowded room. Everyone is laughing. Everyone is talking. And you are right there, smiling, nodding, throwing in a joke now and then. But inside? Inside you feel like a ghost holding a microphone with no cord. You are performing connection while drowning in disconnection. And not a single person in that room notices the difference. That is the cruelest part of silent suffering. You can be surrounded and still feel like you are screaming into a canyon that swallows your voice before anyone hears it. The people who love you walk right past your pain because you have wrapped it in such a pretty package, they actually think you are doing well. They congratulate you on the wrapping. They never see the bomb inside. Have you been pretending everything is fine when nothing inside you is fine? Subscribe to this channel and drop your experience in the comments below, because you would be shocked how many people are sitting in that exact same crowded room right now, smiling the exact same smile, holding the exact same silent scream. Here is something that might shake you a little. Psychologists have an actual name for what you have been doing. They call it self-silencing. It is the habit of pushing down your real thoughts, your real needs, your real feelings, just to keep the peace with people who would never do the same for you. And research has linked this habit to depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, autoimmune flare-ups, and even heart problems. Your body keeps the score, whether your mouth speaks or not. Sit with that for a second. Every "I'm okay" that wasn't true. Every "it doesn't matter" when it actually did. Every "you're right, I'm sorry" when you weren't even wrong. Your body remembers all of it. It stores it in your jaw, in your shoulders, in your stomach, in the tightness of your chest the moment someone raises their voice near you. You are not tired because you do too much. You are tired because you say too little. There is a huge difference between exhaustion from action and exhaustion from suppression, and most of you have been confusing the two your entire adult life. You do not need another vacation. You do not need another supplement. You do not need another bath bomb. You need your voice back. And here is the brutal beauty of it. The moment you finally go silent on the outside is also the moment you might start listening to yourself on the inside for the first time. Because when you stop performing for the world, you finally start hearing that small voice underneath all the noise. The one that has been whispering for years. This is not who you are. This is not the life you wanted. This is not the love you deserved. Is this why you have been feeling so drained lately, even when nothing big is technically happening? Subscribe right now and let me know in the comments if this is finally making something click inside you, because we are just getting to the part of this video that changes everything you thought you knew about your own quiet. Now I want you to picture a violin string with me. When the string is loose, it makes no sound. When the string is stretched too tight, it snaps. But when the string is tuned just right, it sings. And you, my friend, have been a string stretched too tight for far, far too long. Your silence is not weakness. Your silence is the moment right before the snap, or the moment right before the song. You are the only one who gets to choose which one it becomes. Because silence has two faces. There is the silence of defeat, the silence where you give up because nobody has ever truly listened. And then there is the silence of sovereignty. The silence where you stop explaining yourself to people who were never planning to understand anyway. One silence shrinks you down to nothing. The other silence crowns you king or queen of your own life. And the wild thing is, both silences look exactly the same from the outside. Same closed mouth, same calm face, same gentle nod. But on the inside, one feels like a coffin you cannot climb out of. The other feels like a throne you finally earned the right to sit on. The only real question left is which one you are sitting in right now, right this second. Most people never make the switch between the two. They stay in coffin silence forever, mistaking numbness for healing, mistaking dissociation for peace, mistaking shutdown for closure. But you, the fact that you are still watching this video tells me something powerful. It tells me a part of you is done. Done explaining, done apologizing, done shrinking, done dimming yourself so other people can feel a little taller in the room. And once you taste that kind of done, there is no real going back. You cannot unsee what you have seen. You cannot unfeel what you have felt. The mask gets a little heavier every time you try to put it back on, until one day, you simply don't. And the people around you panic because your silence becomes louder than any argument the two of you ever had. Did that hit home for you in a way you weren't expecting? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this conversation, because what I am about to share next is the part nobody warned you about, especially the people who got way too comfortable with your quiet. Here's what happens the moment you finally claim your silence as your own. The energy in every room you walk into shifts. People feel it before they understand it. The ones who used your voice as a punching bag suddenly realize there is nothing left to hit. The ones who fed on your reactions suddenly have no meal sitting on the table. And it terrifies them, because your silence forces them to face themselves, and they hate that mirror more than anything in the world. They will call you cold. They will call you distant. They will tell everyone who will listen that you have changed. And they are absolutely right. You have changed. You finally stopped auditioning for love that was never going to give you the part. You stopped performing peace for people who only liked the show. You went home, to yourself. For the first time in your entire life, you went home. Carl Jung also said that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And you cannot become who you truly are while you are still translating yourself into a language other people prefer. At some point, you have to start speaking your own tongue, even if you have to whisper it at first. Even if the only person who hears it for the first 6 months is you alone in your own kitchen at night. That is how reclamation truly begins. Not with a speech, not with a fight, not with a long goodbye text typed out 3 times and deleted twice. It begins with one quiet moment where you sit alone and you finally tell yourself the truth. I am tired. I am hurt. I am done. And I deserve more than this. I deserve more than this. I deserve more than this. That sentence, said only to yourself, is the loudest sound in the entire universe. Do you recognize this pattern in your own life? This slow, quiet, disappearing act? Subscribe right now and tell me your story in the comments below, because there are thousands of people about to read your words and feel less alone for the first time in years, maybe for the first time in their whole life. Now listen to me very, very closely. The people who love you in the right way will not be afraid of your silence. They will lean closer to it. They will ask gentle questions. They will hold space without demanding answers. They will not punish you for needing a quiet moment. They will not weaponize your stillness against you. They will treat your silence like sacred ground, because that is exactly what your silence is. And the people who cannot handle your silence, they were never really loving you. They were managing you. There is a massive difference between those two things. Love makes room for your quiet. Management requires your noise. Love sits beside you in the dark without flinching. Management hands you a flashlight and tells you to put on a show for the audience. So the next time your silence makes someone in your life uncomfortable, pay close attention. They are showing you exactly what role they were playing in your story all along. Not the role you hoped, not the role they advertised. The real one, the honest one. And that information is a gift, even when it breaks your heart wide open. Especially when it breaks your heart wide open. Because real heartbreak is just the moment your eyes finally open all the way. It hurts because the lie was sweet. It hurts because the fantasy was beautiful. It hurts because part of you wanted to believe in forever with someone who could not even give you a real today. But the truth is the only ground strong enough to build a real life on. Everything else is just sand pretending very hard to be stone. And you, my friend, are done building castles on sand. You are done pouring yourself into people who hold you like a leaking cup and then blame you for the puddle. You are done explaining your worth to people who only see it when you are being useful to them. You are done. Say it out loud if you need to. You are done. You are done. You are done. Are you tired of being the one who always understands everyone and never gets understood back even once? Subscribe and hit the bell if you want more truths exactly like this one, because the next part of this video is where we turn all of that swallowed pain into actual power, and I do not want you to miss a single word of what comes next. Here is the transformation nobody told you was coming. The silence that once swallowed you whole is about to become the silence that protects you completely. Same silence, different owner. Before, your quiet was a cage somebody else built around you. Now, your quiet is a kingdom you built around yourself. Before, your stillness was surrender. Now, your stillness is a fortress with walls so high that drama cannot even climb close enough to peek over the top. You become untouchable. Not in a cold way, not in a closed-off way, in a sovereign way. People can still reach you, but only the ones who knock with respect on the door. People can still know you, but only the ones who earn the key. Your time becomes sacred currency. Your energy becomes a non-renewable resource you spend with intention. Your peace becomes non-negotiable in every single room you walk into. And the world will adjust, or the world will leave. Either way, you finally win. This is what people actually mean when they talk about reclaiming your power. It is not loud, it is not flashy, it is not a viral monologue at a holiday dinner. It is the quiet, unbothered, deeply rooted no you give without an explanation attached. It is the unread message. It is the unattended argument. It is the empty seat at tables you used to beg to be invited to. And the most beautiful part of all of it? You stop chasing. You stop proving. You stop performing. You start choosing. Every single breath becomes a choice. Every word becomes a choice. Every relationship becomes a choice. You go from being a leaf in someone else's wind to being the tree the wind has to move around. That is what your silence built for you. That is what all that pain was secretly preparing you for the whole time. So the next time somebody asks you why you have gotten so quiet lately, just smile. Don't explain. Don't defend. Don't shrink yourself back down for their comfort. Just know inside your own chest that you finally heard yourself for the first time. And anyone who deserves to be in your life will hear you too, without you ever having to raise your voice again to be valuable to them. Has this ever happened to you, where your silence said more than any argument ever could have? Drop a yes in the comments and subscribe to join thousands of people who are finally waking up to who they really were underneath all the noise they were taught to make for everyone else. Because there is a part of this nobody talks about, and it is the loneliest part of all. When you first claim your silence, you will lose people. Not all at once, slowly, one by one. The friend who only called when she needed something. The family member who only loved the version of you that said yes to everything. The partner who only adored you when you were small enough to fit inside their ego. And it will hurt. Of course it will hurt. You are not made of stone, even though the world tried so hard to turn you into it. You will cry in your car. You will scroll through old photos. You will write texts you will never send. You will wonder, in your weakest moments, if maybe you were the problem after all. If maybe you should just go back. If maybe a half-life of being half-loved is better than this strange new quiet. Do not go back. Do not go back. Do not go back. I need you to hear me on this. The discomfort of growth is not the same as the discomfort of decay. They feel similar in the body, but they are opposites in the soul. One is the ache of muscles building. The other is the ache of muscles dying. Your job is to learn the difference and to trust the ache that is building you into who you were always supposed to be. Imagine a butterfly inside the cocoon. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. From the outside, it might even look like the caterpillar is dead. But inside, there is a complete and total dissolving. The caterpillar literally becomes liquid before it becomes the butterfly. That is what your silence is right now. You are not broken. You are dissolving. And what comes next has wings. Is this why you have been feeling so lost and so alive at the exact same time lately? Subscribe and let me know in the comments below, because that strange mix of grief and freedom is one of the clearest signs that you are not falling apart. You are finally falling into place. Now let me tell you something about the language of the soul. Your soul does not speak in sentences. It speaks in sensations. A tightness in your chest when something is wrong. A warmth in your stomach when something is right. A heaviness in your shoulders when you are around the wrong people. A lightness in your steps when you are finally on the right path. Your soul has been talking to you this entire time. You just never learned the language. And the only way to learn that language is silence. Real silence. Not the silence of suppression. The silence of attention. The kind where you sit with yourself and actually listen instead of running. The kind where you put the phone down, turn the noise off, stop filling every empty second with content and conversation and chaos. The kind where you let yourself feel what you have been outrunning your entire adult life. It will be uncomfortable at first. Of course it will. You have spent decades building a life loud enough to drown yourself out. The first time you sit in real silence, you will feel like you are going to crawl out of your own skin. Stay anyway. The discomfort is the door. On the other side of it is a version of you that you have not met since you were a child. Back when you still knew exactly what you wanted before the world told you wanting was wrong. That child is still inside you, you know? That little version of you that laughed too loud, dreamed too big, cried too easily, loved too freely. They did not die. They just got quiet because they thought it was safer that way. And every time you sit in silence and listen, you are telling that child it is finally safe to come back out. It is finally safe to take up space. It is finally safe to be alive in their own skin. Have you been so disconnected from yourself that you forgot what you actually want anymore? Subscribe right now and drop a word in the comments that describes the version of you that got lost along the way, because naming it is the very first step in calling that part of you back home. Here is the final piece I want you to carry with you long after this video ends. There is a moment, somewhere in your near future, when someone will try to pull you back into the old noise. They will provoke you. They will guilt trip you. They will throw a memory in your face. They will dangle a version of love that looks like the one you used to settle for. And in that moment, you will feel the old you stir inside your chest, ready to grab the rope they are throwing. Don't grab it. Just breathe. Just stay.
Just be silent. Not the silence of fear, the silence of knowing. The silence of a person who has finally come home to themselves and refuses to leave the house just because someone outside is yelling. Let them yell. Let them call. Let them throw whatever they want at the walls of your peace. The walls hold. The walls hold. The walls hold. Because here is what they don't understand about who you are now. You are not the person they used to know. That person needed their approval to feel real. You don't anymore. That person needed their attention to feel chosen. You don't anymore. That person needed their permission to take up space. You don't anymore. You are sovereign now. And sovereign people do not negotiate their crowns with strangers who never even saw them as royalty. The world will try to fill every silent space inside you with noise. Their opinions, their expectations, their guilt trips, their drama, their endless need for you to be smaller, softer, sweeter, more available. But your silence is the one room they cannot enter without your permission. And once you learn how to lock that door, you become the most powerful version of yourself you have ever met in your entire life. You stop needing the apology that was never coming. You stop needing the closure they were never capable of giving. You stop needing the last word,
because you finally understand the last word was always supposed to come from you. And the last word is simply this: I choose me now. I choose me now. I choose me now. Say it again with me. I choose me now. Not in a selfish way, not in a bitter way, in a sacred way. The way a person chooses to live after almost not making it through the night. The way a person chooses light after sitting too long in the dark. The way a person chooses themselves after a lifetime of choosing every single other person first and getting handed the leftovers in return. That choice is your throne. Your silence is your crown. Your peace is your kingdom.
And no one can ever take any of them from you again. Not your family, not your past, not your fear, not the smaller version of you that used to apologize for breathing. That person is gone, and the one standing in their place is finally, beautifully, dangerously, gloriously free. You are not too quiet. You are not too distant. You are not too much, and you are not too little. You are exactly the right size for the life that is finally coming for you, the life you were always meant to live before the world taught you to settle for less. Your silence is not the end of your story. It is the doorway into a chapter you could not even have imagined 6 months ago. And someday soon, you will look back on this exact moment, this exact video, this exact decision to finally listen to yourself, and you will smile. Because you will realize the silence wasn't the punishment. The silence was the rescue. The silence was the bridge. The silence was the holy hand that reached down into your chaos and pulled you back to yourself, one quiet breath at a time. If this video made you feel something real, share it with someone who needs it tonight. Subscribe for more videos that actually understand the parts of you that everyone else keeps trying to fix. Because your silence isn't the end of your voice. It's the beginning of the loudest, truest, most unstoppable chapter you have ever lived. And I'll be right here, waiting in the quiet with you, when you are finally ready to turn the page.